Perfect. Stupid live show. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the live stream of Ahsoka, episode 3. Mike Kalinowski is on his way in. I can see him in the chat room. He'll be in just a second. But just to let everybody know, this is a live Sith Council, and what we will be doing today is going over the episode. I did my spoiler episode earlier, but I didn't have Mike with me. It was just how I used to do it. I'll be doing the reactions to the episode, the immediate reactions when I watch them, and then I'm going to do a spoiler review on the next day. Mine was out a little late today because we are still shooting episodes of Blah, Blah, Blah with Katie, and we shot a good one, had a great guest today. And we're just waiting for the strike to end. Once it does, we're going to have like 20 episodes. Just boom, 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 boom. There's going to be so many of them. But for this one, myself and Mike, we're going to go over it. I haven't talked to Mike yet about his thoughts on this one. I know that he liked episode 1 and 2, so I'm not sure where he went on 3. I'm sure he has the same complaint as I do with the 32-minute episode. So we'll probably talk about that. And then there's really not a lot of other Star Wars news, even though we are going to do a Sith Council. We're just going to really kind of break down this 32-episode anti-gravity Ahsoka episode. So that being said, we hope to have you guys with us for the long run here. We're going to be doing super chats, but not Streamlabs today. And the sponsors are really the most important thing here too. So if you're able to get any one of our wonderful sponsors, but before we do, obviously our t-shirt store, if you go to TeePublic, that is in there. You can check that out. You can check us out on the website. You can go to Spotify, you can go to Apple Podcasts, and of course, if you haven't already, hit that button, man. We just hit 90,000 subscribers. That's right, 90,000, and that's because you guys have been so great, so wonderful. And now we're doing this this live one. We don't normally do live shows, but we're doing one here today with you guys. So myself, Mike Kalinowski, it is Sith Council back. Here we go.
I can feel your anger. It gives you focus, makes you stronger.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is Sith Council. Big thing. Myself, Michael Kalinowski.
There you go.
How you doing?
Good. What's going on? You hear me? Everything good?
Yeah, man. The mic sounds good.
Good.
I'll buy you a new camera though. So I'm gonna get you for Christmas.
Well, I'm on my computer. We were doing good with the pandemic. I was going to get the computer, the camera, and then we stopped doing the pandemic. So
you just said whatever. Yeah,
I did. Well, we've been in the studio for a year and a half now.
We have.
So,
and we'll be back in the studio. And to your credit, you've been trying to figure out how to get in here early. I just wasn't here this morning, and you had to do other things. So we said, let's do it live. F it, we'll do it live.
We'll do it live.
So we're doing
it live.
We're doing it live, and we're going to talk about Ahsoka. And yep. I've not talked to you about your thoughts yet.
No.
I gave my thoughts earlier. I mean, we both knew going into this because we had seen that list that came out.
Yep.
About the runtime. And what I will say is this: it's like 32 minutes after credits and everything.
Yeah.
At a minimum, these things should be 45 minutes. At a minimum. What I will say is this: I am impressed with, even though it was 32 minutes, for the 32 minutes that they put in there, I thought it was a good balance of character development and action. Even though the silly Ahsoka floating around in space with no gravity was ridiculous, but other than that, I thought it was a pretty good episode. What do you think? Now,
hold on a second. You didn't like that?
I liked it towards the end because she should have been floated. You can stab people with lightsabers and they don't die, but you can cut ships in half like that. And you can flip around and land with no gravity. And then when it's convenient, then you can't land and you land in space. It's like, what are the rules?
I got to be honest. Like, I watched the 2 episodes again, and then I watched the 3rd one. I guess it was fine to me.
Okay.
This episode was fine. Like it seems very, and someone made it a point. Someone in our kind of circle of friends was talking about it. Everyone is so stoic. Everyone talks and moves so slow. And it's just like, now, again, I don't know Sabine very well, but she was kind of like, wasn't she like the hothead, like the rebel of the rebels, right?
It wasn't like she wasn't like a hothead. No, I mean Ezra was more of the hothead than
Okay.
she was. She was definitely more of a rebel. She was like a graffiti artist, and
yeah, that's what I remember from the beginning of the season 1 that I did see.
She's also not a kid anymore. This is 5 years past when she was a teenager. She's a kid. She lost one of her best friends. She lost her mentor in Kanan. It ain't all happy go lucky for them. So I don't blame the Stoics. I don't think Hera is very stoic. I think Hera's got some.
It maybe, I don't know. You guys know me, and I don't ever critique acting. I never will say that's bad. I didn't like that, but there's just something that's just not working for me. Like I buy Ahsoka as the stoic Jedi leader, reserve. Everything she does is very slow.
Yeah,
but it seems like if someone's talking and then there's this like so and so, and then it's this, hey, blah, 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 and they like.
Yeah,
the transmission was from where? Like everyone is so
it's
slow and deliberate. I'm just like, and even so, that it translated into the space battle, it was the most lethargic space battle we've seen. Like there was the way they're on the controls and they're just kind of like it was like, and we've seen Star Wars, so we know what it's like when it's frenetic. And I think this was directed by Steph Green, who's one of my favorite Star Wars directors. So it was a weird. But so then when they get to the flippy stuff I was like, now this is cool. This is fun.
It was fun. There was definitely fun.
Like
it was I don't know. People saying she had magnetic boots on, and everybody makes it's the Force.
Well, hey, here's this. I'll tell you this. I thought that too, the magnetic boots, and that's from Star Trek.
Yeah.
And First Contact, where they're walking on the hull of the ship with the magnet boots.
Well, why
that's what I thought too. So
why did she float off into space when?
Maybe her magnets didn't connect.
It didn't work, but it worked again. It worked again when she came flying back.
I don't know.
It's like it's okay. I mean, it's a stupid plot device, but it's like she's out there flipping the sabers around, and you can hear. Yeah. It doesn't matter. It was still it was such a small detail of an episode that I actually really liked. I really did like the episode. I thought that it had a lot of story, and like I saw someone who's like, "Oh, I didn't think it moved the plot along at all," and I said, "I don't know what you were watching, because this episode absolutely, in so many different levels, further the plot." And I listed a whole bunch of examples as far as why, even from the start, the beginning of it, when they're training, that Neo and Morpheus scene, she's tapping her on the shoulder, and the droid is fantastic. And
I didn't realize that was David Tennant.
Yeah, do you remember when we talked about that on?
I know, but I'm going back to the 2 episodes we did, because we only did the out of theater reaction. I didn't talk about the 2 with you on a review. So I think that night I was like, "Oh, that's David Tennant. I didn't know that."
Yeah, he's fantastic in it. I think that for Hu Yang, I think that's his
Hu Yang. Yep.
Yeah, and then so what he's done, and the personality they've given that droid stands out more so than other droids that have been there before. Yeah. And I think the look and the feel and everything that's been put together in this episode really worked. And I like that actually Sabine wasn't like this super overdone hothead that we've seen a million times over, that she's getting frustrated with Ahsoka. She's not frustrated with her. She's just, okay, I gotta learn my lessons. I said this, and I want to see, I know that we've been talking about the cliches that are going to happen. We know that the apprentice is going to turn good.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah, they're setting it up, and it's so stupid. It's like,
if that happens, dude.
They're gonna set it. Of course, they're gonna do that. Like she's great, and I think, she's kind of like the Vader of the series so far. The way that she's kind of set up, and people will argue that it's Ray Stevenson, but I think he's got more of, like, when it comes to the Jedi side of it, he's got more of the Emperor side. Even though I know that it's Morgan that's running the joint, but it's their relationship just plays more that way. And especially in this episode where she's flying around in the ships, kind of trying to knock him out, but like it's just such a setup. Like, okay, here we go again, another bad girl. It's gonna turn good, and it's like, just keep her bad. And then I'm hoping the stupidest thing that ever could happen is they make this Inquisitor Ezra. It's like I might shut the television off. Now
I have definitely seen this, because I love, especially with shows like this where it's heavy in the lore. I love, like, Alex and like Damon, Laura Kelly, like all those guys. I love going deep and reading their stuff and watching their stuff, because it provides perspective to the stuff that I don't know so much about. But Star Wars is alive with the thinking that this guy's Ezra, and not knowing a lot of what had happened. So kind of going in blind. I mean, do you think
it would make no sense? It would make no sense.
Okay.
Because think about it. they even said it in this episode. Ezra disappeared with Thrawn.
Yeah.
So if Balin and Morgan, if they found Ezra, what the hell are they running around with the map for? Why don't they just say, hey,
this
where
is
is
8 episodes?
8 episodes, yeah.
I'm going to make a prediction. Thrawn appears in episode 7. You get 2 episodes with him, and Ezra appears in the last episode at the end. That's it.
I agree with that. I think Ezra.
I think that's because it's called Ahsoka. It's not called Rebels live action season 1.
Ezra, and he'll have more of a part in season 2. But what I hope again with Ezra is that he's not the Inquisitor. Please no, it'd be the stupidest decision anyone's ever made. But I hope that they don't turn him bad, because they had a chance to do that already in Rebels. Just same thing. They rescue him. They find a way to do it, and maybe he dies. You know, if he dies, because it would make sense as far as like, well, where the hell is he later on? And there's so many Jedi running around. So if he dies, you know, if he dies, he dies. He dies. Yeah. So either way, it'll be very interesting to see how that. The other thing that I was gonna bring up, the third thing, that the cliche, what the hell was it? What we were talking about in the beginning. There's
the master of the Padawan, the training, the robot.
Yeah, there's something that I talked about
her
today.
With the
the Force. Yeah. Now, the one that I think this one, if it happens, I'll be like, yeah, it makes sense. I understand why. But wouldn't you love to see it? Because I really love the idea, because Ahsoka gives her props. She knows she's a good fighter. She knows it from how she learned to sword fight through Kanan and everything too. And she's a good fighter. She said not everybody can like master the Force right away. And Sabine's trying, and I love that they don't have her move the cup and she can't do it. I think it's great. I would love to see. She never does it. She tries as hard as she can, and she just can't do it. She's just a great fighter. She doesn't ever tune into the Force. There's no way in the world that'll ever happen. Of course, she'll tune into the Force and right when she needs it. But how great would that be if she can't tune in?
Well, because like you said, it's the tropes we're all expecting at the cup. Yeah. You know, I was waiting for the little, you know, cup shake on the table, but she can't do it. But again, that's right. But that's kind of what I'm feeling, though. It's like, well, we've seen this. I mean, you list Neo and Morpheus. It's the Master Padawan. I mean, we saw with Grogu and Luke. Like, it becomes it's a trope, and it becomes a little tiresome for me. You know,
agree. That's how I like to see it, like, change to something else.
Put it on its head, flip it on its head, and do something different. Like, hey,
that would be great.
You're not it. You're not a Jedi. And she's like, well, you know, you're better as this.
But you're a good fighter. I mean, the things that I love is when the ship kind of falters out, and Sabine's so good at tech, she has to get there. And when Ahsoka is flipping around in space, she's there doing what she needs to do. And I love that moment with Hu Yang. Even though Hu Yang is busting her chops the entire time, the first thing she thinks of is, I got to help him. And Ahsoka's like, you can help him later, because there's no use to it if we're all dead.
Yeah.
So it's little moments like that define characters so much. And my favorite scene in the whole thing is the stuff with Hera and the senator, douchebag McGillicuddy. Like that guy was awesome. That actor was awesome. Like when she walks in and whatever they say, though, you know, douchebag McGillicuddy's in there, and she's like, oh great, here we go. And there's so much in there, and the emotion that Mary Elizabeth Winstead shows when they're talking about Ezra and talking about how he's like, aren't you really looking for Thrawn, because that's a way to extend your search for Ezra.
Yeah.
And she kind of flips out of him, and she has that great moment where she looks at him. She's like, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Did you fight in the war? And he's like, no. She's like, oh, yeah, you want to see who came out on top. It's a great moment. Great moment.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, and it's tough because I only know these characters through the Rebels show, like most people. But there's something off with Hera to me.
Okay.
In the look. And I don't know if it's because the eyes are so much bigger in the cartoon and she has the contacts. It just looks like Mary Elizabeth Winstead in makeup, whereas Rosario Dawson doesn't to me.
Okay.
And I don't know because
it looks more cosplay.
It looks like, and that's not a dig at cosplay because those are so good now. Sure. Like you see, like we saw at the fan event, there were so many people. And it's like, they look so good.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is with like the difference between Ahsoka and her. It's the character that just, I don't know. I don't know. Like, and again, Jennifer Beals' character in Book of Boba Fett, who was a Twi'lek as well.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because she's green. I don't know. Just doesn't. Every time I see her, something's, and I know it looks spot on like the cartoon. I know that, so it just
fine. Just something about it for you.
Something
but
about it just doesn't sit with me.
It works for me, and I'll tell you what else
It's
works for me
okay.
is Mon Mothma, and
well, she's great in everything.
But
Every time she pops up.
I just love this how this play on politics again of what Star Wars always was, and it's like, listen, just because the good guys won, it doesn't mean that the good guys are in charge.
Yeah,
you're gonna always have greed taking over, and that's essentially what happened in the Zahn novels too. It's like there was this fight for power within, and Mon Mothma can do only whatever she can do. It's the same way that there's like today's politics, you know, it's like you'll have somebody in there that maybe wants to fight the good fight and has a thing and brings forward a good proposition that seems like it's the rightful thing, and then everybody else around them goes nope, and then it doesn't matter how powerful you are, it doesn't get passed, and it's out, and that happens all the time. And so that's kind of what happened here. She's like, listen, we got to go find this guy. I have good data. We have people screaming, you know, long live the Empire. We have all this, and I have good data that Thrawn's back. And this was someone who fought many wars, many battles inside of the war, won a bunch of things, has a lot of respect. And they're like, no, you're too emotional. You're too emotionally attached. We're not giving you the support. And I thought it was a great moment.
No, a great scene. Like, and again, like it's nailed it on the head. Is that the saying?
Yeah, hit the nail on the head.
There it is.
Yeah.
Like anytime, and it's with the good thing you or I guess the testament to this show is those scenes can be incredibly boring and if not done well.
Yeah.
And they're not. So
no, I thought it was good. And it was
I don't understand that, especially that scene right there. How people don't think, like, I'll say this. We've seen in Boba Fett and in Mando, I think even in Obi-Wan, if I remember it right, like the standalone bottle episodes, like, oh, this is a filler. I maybe if people are saying that about this, I don't think they saw the right episode. Like, it's not a filler episode. It's everything. Like you said with 1 and 2, you can tell there's an end point what they're going to, and everything is going to drive towards that.
Yeah, it seems like that for sure. It's like I mean, this was another puzzle piece of the grand story. It didn't feel like some side story. It felt like part of the story. It was, albeit short, but again, the impressive thing for me, as much as I was like, because sometimes 32-minute episodes will happen. I'm like, nothing even happened in 32 minutes. Nothing happened. A lot happened in this episode. That's why I did push back. The one guy's like, nothing happened to further the plot. I'm like, I don't know what you're watching. So much happened.
It was all about literally getting further in the plot. Like that's what they physically did.
Yeah.
Towards their goal of what they needed to find.
And someone put in the chat, you know, and I saw, by the way, I see the super chats. After we finish our discussion, I'm going to go through them and bring them up. So don't worry. We will get to them. But I saw someone put in the fact, like the space whales, the first time, like
you and Steph were happy, I'll bet.
We were space whales. Because the thing is, what people don't realize is, and I brought this point up, and I'll bring it up again here with you, is that I haven't talked to you about this because I took you to that event because I wanted, as I told you, I wanted to get someone's perspective on who didn't watch Rebels to see if you were lost. And you came out and you said I wasn't.
Right.
There were quite a few people that were lost afterwards, and I saw Dan Merles and a few other people, and I was curious because even though you didn't watch the show, you still heard enough about the characters of Ezra. You knew about, you heard us talk about it, so it wasn't like completely like, who are these people? I've never heard of them before. You just didn't know the backstory behind it. So that was curious to hear people talking about that. But I had a friend that she wrote to me on. We were talking about episodes 1 and 2, and she said I was too confused by it. I think they asked you to know too much about Rebels. And my counter to that was, well, isn't it the same as like episode 4 when you're sitting there with Obi-Wan and he goes, the Clone Wars was this, and that's a good point. Like, you're like, well, who the hell's that? But then the funny thing is, then she wrote me for the third one. She's like, I really like this episode of part 3, and I'm like, that's interesting because this one had the most Rebels references, like talking about Jason Solo.
Right.
He pops up with his green hair.
Jason Syndulla. That's not Solo.
Sorry.
But no, when they said that, dude, I was like, that's Jason Solo. That's Jason. Did he just take the name from Solo? Because that was these books aren't canon or whatever, but that's what we grew up with.
It's certainly an homage to
Jaina. That was Jaina and Jason, right?
It's absolutely what it is absolutely a.
So I saw when she first said, I mean, I knew it wasn't a Solo, but I was just like, wait a minute, that's Solo's kid. But
yeah, they named him Jason, and he was. And
but I saw all the fans that do love that character and how they went nuts for him.
Yeah,
And I'll say this, like,
he's Kanan's
you
good.
made a good point. I think the reason maybe people are like that is because we know there is a Rebel show. We know there is story. Like with New Hope, there wasn't anything, so we didn't have to go, oh, that's what they're talking about. Now I got to watch that.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like,
But if you don't like, if you think about like, you're saying there was more in this one.
Definitely.
I didn't feel that at all. Like lost.
Right.
Like,
Not to be lost, but then I don't think that any one of these episodes, like, you'll be lost. I think that people, because like you just said, because they know there's Rebels out there, they automatically think, well, I don't know that reference, so it must be a Rebels thing. I think that this show includes you in a way that you don't have to watch it. I think you get rewarded if you did, but there are tons of stuff like Jason Solo shows up, and like you said, Jason Solo, I keep saying it, Jason Sundala shows up, and you're looking and you're going, oh, that must be Hera's kid.
Yeah.
And if you watch it, you don't know what it is. Nobody else really knows what it is, except if you watch the show, you know that's Kanan's kid. You know the relationship that they had, how in love they were, and the fact that was a big reveal that she had this kid, and that's a big Rebels reference. The other stuff, the conversation that they're having with douchebag McGillicuddy and talking about how, you know, that he was lost with Thrawn, and he was. And it was that moment. We saw that moment as Rebels fans. We were there for that moment when that happened, and how he was basically not banished, but he disappeared with them. And then when the Purgles show up, the space whales, like that was a big thing during Rebels. A conversation of like, we have whales in space now. What's happening? And the way that Filoni moved it, and that they could move in light speed, and these other things, and how like it's a major, like if you're watching it for the first time. And you see these Purgles, you saw a glimpse of them in Mandalorian, and you saw a glimpse of them in episode 1 or 2. I don't know of this one, but this is the first time you see them in live action.
Yeah,
there's major references, and it's the same thing that they were talking about. A lot of Ezra messages, and when Hera says about Thrawn that he's taken out people that I've loved, and she's talking about Kanan. It's like, people don't necessarily know that if they're watching it, but if you watch Rebels. It hits more. So there's tons of Rebels.
Yeah, it's enriched for you if you're a big fan of Rebels, of course, but you're not in the dark.
No, I thought it worked really, really well. I was impressed by it. And I'll tell you guys, you know what I'm always impressed by, and you guys should be impressed by it too. And that's AG1. You guys know I've been talking about AG1 for a while. I love AG1. And if you've been part of this show and you've been with us for a while, you know how much I love AG1. I drink AG1 in the morning, right before I do the coffee. And it's given me such great energy. And I took it initially because Brett told me to, and now I just can't do without it. I'm not a big vitamins guy. I've never been a big vitamins guy. I put it all in one. Now I have like this cup mic that I got from the zoo. And I got it from the zoo, and I use it all the time. And it's amazing because I can't always keep up with the supplement routine that comes with a bunch of different products. And since I've been drinking AG1, I notice if I have much better sleep quality. I feel so much better. I feel like I can take longer walks. I have all this stuff. And why would you take a bunch of different things and you just take one scoop of powder in water once a day? Because it was designed with ease in mind, so you can live healthier and better without having to complicate your routine. So if you really want to try it, a lot of people have been reaching out to me and they're trying AG1 and they've been giving it a shot. And the best way to do it, you want to take ownership of your health, is to try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. But you have to go to drinkag1.com/big-thing. drinkag1.com/big-thing. And if you want to try something else, I saw someone else talking about this when I was telling them up top. I put a link in the description and I say, hey, if you want to help the show out, you go to one of our sponsors. And someone goes, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going right to Marine Layer. And you should. These shirts are fantastic. You're a t-shirt guy, Mike.
I am.
You got to get these. They're really, really soft. They're incredible. I have been looking for new gear, and they sent me this website, and I was like, all right, let me check out Marine Layer. And I was looking at Marine Layer, and they have they have really comfortable pants, they have comfortable shirts, they have it's so soft, and no matter what, it's like they sent me a whole bunch of this stuff, and it's just like I feel smooth. I feel good. I really do. I feel good, man. I feel like an adult too, walking around in them. It's really amazing. So if you want to go and you want to find your favorite fits and you want to get 15% off Marine Layer, use that promo code Big Thing at Marine Layer, Big Thing 15 at Marine Layer, Big Thing 15 at marinelayer.com. Really, really incredible. I love Marine Layer, and I hope you guys do too. Yeah, we're excited to be with them, and we're excited for all the wonderful sponsors that we have. So please go and check them out. And I got to thank, I want to thank the audience in general, by the way, who have been, they ask all the time, and look, we don't do live shows like this all the time, and I already see people who are throwing super chats in. And what I will tell you is, if you're going to throw a super chat in, if you're going to, and you need a shirt instead, it's way helpful for me and for you to go to Marine Layer, get yourself a shirt, and do that instead, because that's the sponsorships are keeping us going, man, and we're getting more and more and more because you guys have been going out there and you've been purchasing them and you've been using our codes and you've been telling me you've been enjoying them, so that helps too. So all right, let's move on, Mike. We got we got some other stuff. We got some other stuff. So let's talk about this Marek character again, this Ezra thing, right?
All right.
Definitely. We talked about how I think making it Ezra would be the dumbest decision in the history of television.
Now, well, okay, let me ask you this. Do you think in any way whatsoever he's undercover and is working his way in to destroy them from the inside?
Why would he come back?
I don't know. I'm throwing this out there as the noob to Rebels that doesn't know these characters and just trying to think of what storytelling they might go down.
How does he come back, though?
I don't know.
The whole point is that they're lost in this galaxy and they need this map. But Ezra found a way back, and he decided to put on an Inquisitor's hat and start turning on his friends. Why?
I don't know.
And you'll some cockamamie, freaking
cockamamie Ezra out there.
Reason why? It's like the ones that I did like. I liked the Barriss Offrey one. It could be, but I also liked the one I liked the most is I loved the Sam Witwer Star Killer angle. I love that.
That Star Killer's in there.
A version of Galen Marek, a version of something to where he was this kind of renowned Jedi that was coming up the ranks, or Vader found him early in his career, and he's been hunting down the Jedi for a while. And then after they all disbanded, he was still fighting toe to toe with Balin, and then they reveal it's one of those reveals like, who the hell's this guy? Well, he's a young kid that Vader found, but to us, it's like, holy shit, that's Star Killer. And finally giving Sam Witwer his due. That would be incredible. Now, Sam Witwer is not underneath the costume. It's a stuntman. I can't remember the guy's name. They put it's in the credits of the episode of who played him. So the other thing, which I wouldn't be mad at all, he's just a freaking ex-Jedi.
Yeah,
some nobody.
Just a person. Just a character.
That's it.
Everyone, anytime someone a mask shows up, they're like, who is it? Who is it? It's like sometimes it's just the bad guy. We just need henchmen. And don't turn good. Everybody turns good. It's not wrestling. There's always heel turns and face turns in Star Wars now, all the time. And there's no reason. I just think someone said that Marek is Lizzo. It's pretty good. But either way, it's I don't know. Does there need to be a reveal? I think that the internet might be making this a reveal thing. It's not. I like the idea. I think it's going to be nothing.
I hope it is. I
hope it's the internet running rampant. It's like they do it with DC, they do it with Marvel. Anytime it's part of the fun of it. But yeah, I think this is going to be a big no-no.
A big no-no. So the other things that happen, they have this conversation, and between the Ahsoka Sabine relationship, I like that they're not staying in the, oh, you left me, oh, you don't trust me, they didn't do that. They did it in episodes 1 and 2, and then they left it alone. Sabine was like, okay, I respect you as a teacher, and then they had a great moment. One of my favorite moments of the show was they're flying around in that space battle, and Sabine's on the cannons. There's a lot of episode 4 references throughout this entire episode, but episode 4, and she's sitting in, she's got the cannons, and she goes, if you trust me, and Ahsoka says it first. She's like, I'm going to take your lead. She's like, you're going to take my lead? Okay, then dive. And she listens, and she doesn't, well, no, I hope you know what you're doing. There's none of that. They just they trust each other. They had their thing in 1 and 2. They got over it, and now they're working together. We've seen it so many different times of the whole, I don't know. Can I trust you? Why don't you believe in me? Blah, 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 blah. And then that's the whole thing. And it's like, you don't need that anymore. It's just like, no, they're on the same page. They know each other. Let's get into the mission. And and the same thing. Sabine listened to her with the Hu Yang stuff. She's like, I want to help.
You're right.
Don't help yet. And she doesn't she doesn't argue. She goes, you're right. And I love that dynamic. And I hope they stick with that dynamic. And because Sabine already knows what happened. She didn't listen. She ran off with the map and she lost it. The same argument could be made for Ahsoka. She should have went with her and let her take the map so she could figure it out, to trust her. So it was like, so they both learned from that. It seems like they both learned from that scenario.
Yeah, you've definitely, and again, I don't know the history of it, but you definitely see the evolved relationship, which is great.
Yeah. And I think that's what has been, I think, really working for me. And I love that opening. It was that and we should also talk about how great Morgan is too. Just sitting on that dock, looking out, just looking evil as hell. And I think she's that actress. She's Bruce Lee's granddaughter. Is that?
I thought it was Dan Inosanto's who trained with Bruce Lee.
Is that what it is?
I think it's Inosanto is the last name.
Okay,
and I believe it was someone that trained with Bruce Lee. I thought
she was
Dan Inosanto was her father or her grandfather.
Goddaughter, they said, is goddaughter.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Okay, so goddaughter.
Dan Inosanto's goddaughter?
No, I guess Bruce Lee's
goddaughter, because Dan Inosanto and him were friends.
Dan Inosanto's daughter. Yeah. Bruce Lee is her godfather. So
there we go.
So close. I was close.
I was right.
You were right. I was close.
Always.
But nonetheless, she was. So the story was that she was like a major Star Wars fan, like growing up, and she used to. And after watching the Obi-Wan and Darth Vader scene from Episode 4, and so it's like kind of like a dream come true. And you can tell she's having so much fun in this role. She's having so much fun. You can feel it. And she's on the hyperdrive thing, and she's looking out. And I loved that moment where that was another thing that was great. Normally, you always see them firing at these ships, and it's like, how come they're not hitting them? And no, they didn't blow them up, but they messed them up, and they were like that floated into space. It had like an interstellar feel to it.
I'll tell you this: watching this scene, and I gave it a little ding earlier on saying it was kind of lethargic, but you know how with the original Space Battles and New Hope, Lucas used World War II fighter footage. This felt like World War II because the way that the lasers would shoot almost were like bullets. Yeah. And that rapid fire and the sound they made. So that really kind of captured the feel. And again, goes back to what Favreau was saying. You're not imitating Star Wars. You're not evoking Star Wars. You're evoking the material that's influenced Star Wars.
And that's why I kind of pushed
that
back
really felt.
But that's why I kind of pushed back on your earlier point of that it was a little like mundane, the fight, right, or dull. I think because it did have that feel of like 3 to 6 ships or whatever they were coming after them, and there's only so much that they can do. But even how excited Sabine got when she was able to take out a few of them, and you knew she was going to take out the extras. That's definitely going to happen. She's not going to take out Marek or what's the apprentice's name? I never get it right.
Use your words.
Shin.
Balin's?
Shin.
Balin's?
Yeah. Shin. Same thing. Aisha says the same thing. If Shin turns good, that'll ruin the series for me.
She can't
agree more.
I don't think she does. I think she's too
good.
In.
I mean, look at Reva. You knew they were going to turn Reva. They turned Reva. They turned.
But Reva's backstory with her being
Kylo Ren
Jedi.
showed up. I was saying it on Jedi Council. They're going to turn him back.
I'll tell you this. We never talked back then about this, but after Solo died, I was like, you don't get redemption after killing Solo.
You can't. And they did. I knew they did. That was my point. I made the same point. I said, you just killed Han Solo. And they're like, well, Anakin killed all these kids and he came back. I mean, you didn't see them and you didn't know the kids. Yeah. And yes, it's shitty that he killed the kids. And it was terrible that he killed the kids and he was redeemed. But it wasn't Harrison Ford. It wasn't Han Solo. It wasn't the character that we knew for so long. There's no coming back from that. There was no coming back from that at all. When that happened, and they did it in such a kind of silly way in how and they're teleporting in hallways and whatever they're doing. And besides that, though, you have that, and then the Reva turn we called before the series even started. The same way, you knew that was going to happen.
I'll say that. Not talk about turns and stuff. Now 3 episodes in, I don't know if we get those Anakin flashbacks we were hoping for.
I think we will.
You do.
Yeah. I think they wouldn't have marketed that commercial with his voice for just the hell of it.
Okay.
There's going to be,
we'll find out.
I think there's going to be like a full episode where, or at least a good amount. Like Hayden Christensen has already kind of, I think, announced that he's.
But it just seems like we've seen now these episodes are advancing the plot dramatically. So what would that do to the plot? Like, did Anakin and Thrawn were they ever involved?
Yeah. In the book, in the canon books, they were anyway.
It's books though. It's never animation or.
No, not that I've seen in the animation.
I can't remember them ever.
Canon books, they have a couple interactions.
Did Vader and Thrawn ever, or was he already gone?
Yeah. I think that from what I remember in the books, I think Thrawn is aware that Anakin is Vader.
Okay, all right. I don't know if that ever comes into play.
But they ruined that. Deborah Chow, who I loved, ruined that whole mystery thing because like Obi-Wan found out through Reva. What? That was an original thing too. From what that, if you read that script, that's not how it happened. He discovered it on his own and figured it out. And like, why would Reva know that he's Anakin Skywalker? That is so silly. I don't know. And she's alive. Why wouldn't she tell everybody that? Silly. I tell you, silly.
Bonkers.
But they're building up. I'll tell you what they're doing well right now.
What's that?
And if you tell me, because first. Someone who's seen Rebels, for someone who hasn't seen it, I know you know the character already. They're building up Thrawn really well right now. They're making him scary, like from the way that they're talking about him, the way that someone like Morgan holds so much weight to go get him, and that she's so powerful alone, but yet Thrawn's calling me, and they're talking about all these different things. What's going to happen? A different war is going to happen if they bring this guy back. And then how he was responsible for the death of loved ones. They're really setting him up in a very powerful way that if you haven't watched Rebels, if you've never seen it, you're like, who's this Thrawn character they're talking about? Like this guy seems like they're setting him up to be Thanos.
I don't know. Because with Morgan, we don't know who's pulling her strings.
Thrawn.
So he's reached out to her to, hey, come find me.
You remember she said he's been calling me across time. She says
so he's basically trapped in like the Phantom Zone.
He's trapped in a different galaxy. Now, who knows what the hell he's doing out there, and who knows what, I mean, they've been gone for so long, so many years now. Who also knows how time works in this particular galaxy? I have no idea. But like they're in a
So are you saying would you say the world between worlds?
I mean, that could be involved somehow. I don't know if it is though. I'm not sure, but like they have, it's interesting. And then even like Jermaine brings up that, did you see that the senators looked at each other when Hera brings up his name? Like they were shitting in their pants when you bring up Thrawn, because the guy was just responsible for so much chaos. And he was, I think they say it in the trailer, like the heir to the Empire. He's the one that could bring everybody back. And it's one of the reasons that that there's still this love for the Empire, and that there's still, because they still believe that it can come back, and there's still the mission to get back the one guy that could run the whole thing.
I think for people that don't know Rebels, don't know the books, we need to see some kind of what the aftermath of what Thrawn is capable of.
Right.
We need to see a civilization that was wiped out, a world that was destroyed by his people that lived under his thumb. We have to see something like that to give those of us that don't know. I know him from the book, but 25 years ago, that's not even canon anymore.
Teasing how scary the boogeyman is. Show me how scary he really is.
Like with Jaws.
Yeah.
You saw little boy getting killed. The small things that built to him coming back. So when you finally were revealed, you are terrified of this.
You're terrified of it because it's
so
like
we need to see something that is
you
just can't pop up.
Methodic. He's supposed to be methodic. He's supposed to be kind of like very like one note, mundane, and he's got that voice that's just so scary. He's got that thing that he's just and I think Lars Mikkelsen did a great job in Rebels, and I'm very curious how he's going to play him in live action. I do hope. I'm pretty sure I think you're right though. I think you're going to get him in 7 and 8, and you'll get Ezra in 8. But what would be devastating is if they find that if they go and they have like a really tragic moment and they find that Ezra's dead, and that's why Mina Mossad didn't take the role because he's dead. And it's just a hologram. They go to find him, and he's gone already. Like, that would be the most devastating choice, and also show you, like, Thrawn found a way and Thrawn killed him. Like, how? Who knows? And people probably call foul because they're like, really, you got rid of Ezra that easy? But I would if you're going to ask me, would you rather see Ezra killed off screen or have him turn bad? Kill him off screen. Don't turn him bad.
Nah.
Yeah. All right, so before we move on, like I said, I do want to tell you guys, like, the sponsors that kind of keep us going here, guys. As I brought off, and I can't tell you enough about Green Chef. You guys know Green Chef. I've been talking about Green Chef forever. I love them. I've been so excited to continue to work with them because I've been eating really good, as I mentioned before. Not only with other vitamins and stuff I'm taking, but I'm eating really well. And the reason why I'm eating so well is because Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating clean with dinners that work for you, and it's not the other way around. You can eat clean the easy way with recipes that help manage your weight and support your wellness goals without skimping on flavor. I talk about it all the time. I do my own. I make like quesadillas now, and I can throw stuff on the grill. They have really good meat, good burgers, and they have everything that you can actually eat. If you don't like burgers, you want to eat vegan more, they can do that too. You can enjoy effortless plant-based dining with Vegan Kickoff, which is a brand new limited time options, including delicious vegan breakfast, lunches, dinners, and sides. They have everything. They deliver everything you need to eat clean the easy way for the rest of the summer. You can feel your best with nutritionists approved recipes packed with clean ingredients that support your healthy lifestyle, and they taste great too. So if you want to check it out, please go and do it because they're really amazing. You get ahead of the busy season with their convenient step-by-step recipes. They have dinners that are ready in like 25 minutes or less. I'm telling you, it was so easy for me, and I'm an imbecile when it comes to cooking. And it was so great. I mean, I love them. If you go to greenchef.com/60thing, greenchef.com/60thing, and use that code 60thing, you'll get 60% off plus free shipping. It is worth the shot. Go and give it a whirl, as the world girls would say. It is so good. I love it, and you'll love it too. So make sure you check it out. That is Green Chef, everybody. And also want to tell you that this episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. BetterHelp. Been using BetterHelp for a while. I've been talking about BetterHelp for a while, and it really is. I've talked about it with Roxy, and I've talked about it with people in my family. This has helped out tremendously. A lot of people that I love, and if you didn't know it, if you haven't gone to BetterHelp before, it's very, I don't know. For me, sometimes I think that what we do is, you ever been in that moment where you're like trying to fall asleep and you suddenly, your brain just it won't stop, and your thoughts start racing before bed and other moments. And it's just, you're like, I can't fall asleep. I'm thinking too much. And one way to make the racing thoughts stop is you got to talk through them. And that's what therapy does. And it gives you a place to do that. So you can get your negative thought cycles and you can find some mental and emotional peace. So please go and check it out. Like I said, I've had people who have been in my family that have been using BetterHelp. It's been helping them tremendously. And as I mentioned to you before, Roxy, she swears by it. We were talking about it. I said, you should try BetterHelp. She did. She loves it. She's been with them now for, I think it's like 5 or 6 months. So if you're thinking of starting therapy, please give BetterHelp a try. It's online. It's designed to be convenient. It's flexible, and it's suited to your schedule. You just got to fill out a brief questionnaire. You get matched with a licensed therapist, and then you switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. You get a break from your thoughts with BetterHelp. Now you go to betterhelp.com/bigthing today. You'll get 10% off your first month. betterhelp.com/bigthing. All right, again, guys, thank you so much. And thank you to everybody and obviously if you're comfortable with certain things, always let me know and give me feedback with any of our sponsors that you try. So I pinned the sponsors in the comment sections here today, and I will also put it on the first pinned comment once the show goes up. So please give it a consider. That's how you help the show out today. All right, Mike. So we got some things coming up. The other thing that I loved was Balin at the end, because they not crash, but they land on that planet. What's the planet? So I'm gonna quiz you.
Oh, here we go. Come on now.
What's the name of what was the planet that Starkiller base was on? Someone will say it in the comments.
Hold on, don't let me get this. Hold on. It's not Hosnian Prime. That's the system that blew up. It's Starkiller Base is on.
You're gonna get nailed here. Someone's gonna get you before.
I know. Starkiller Base is on. I thought
Ilium.
No, that doesn't sound right. Maybe. I don't know.
You know what it is?
What are people saying in the chat?
So far, just Ilium, and it's not Dathomir. But
no, that's where from Solo. That's with Darth Maul.
They're saying nobody knows.
Starkiller Base was.
They're saying it's Ilium, but is it Ilium? Maybe it is. Yeah, everyone's saying it's Ilium.
I don't know.
All right. Well, either way, well, it kind of looked like a cross. This planet looked like a cross between that when they land Han Solo and Finn, Chewie. It looked like that, in that area when they like mixed.
Like they're in a forest. We have forest something.
Yeah. Well, that's where the battle was with Rey and Kylo Ren in the first Force Awakens. So it's Ilum. Hey, you ever been to Ilum? They got a good pizza shop in the back of the forest. But I like how they just kind of pulled that move. Let's just shut everything down. Yeah. And Hu Yang was like, "Oh, come on, you shut me down." She's like, and again, another moment that I love. She's like, "We have to." And he's like, "All right,
we gotta."
Yeah, he got it. He understood. And then when he woke up and realized, and they asked him, and they were going through the technology and what it was. He's like, "Well, the only way to be able to do that is like space wells." Oh, funny you say that. We just saw some. He's like, "Really? I've always wanted to see them." It was a great moment. It was a great moment. So
space wells, huh?
Yeah, I thought that was good. But and then they have Balin, who's this is what somebody wrote, that what if it was Balin that turned good? Because out of everyone set up thus far, he has made a couple comments that make you go, huh? Like that comment when he's talking.
Yeah, but he's a mercenary, so he's going to go where the money is. And anytime in these stories, I'm not saying Star Wars, you see the mercenary that realizes the error of their ways. Like, really, I'm taking money and these people are all dying. Yeah, all right. I could see him changing more than her. But how about this? How about we don't have anyone get redemption?
I'm with you.
Bad people are just bad.
I love that, and I hope that I would prefer that. But if there was anyone that was going to turn at all, that's the one I would go, okay, because for a lot of different reasons. And one because they set it up already where Morgan's like, what, you don't want, whatever she said, you don't want to kill the Jedi, you seem like you don't want, you're right. I forget, sentimental, whatever. And he goes, not sentimental, the truth. There's just so few of them left. Yeah. And he doesn't want to kill them all. He doesn't want to kill them. And because it's what he comes from, and he's not like this kind of just murderous lunatic.
Right.
He's got an agenda for power, but he will take them all out if he has to, but he doesn't want to. And maybe they lead into that. And the other reason is Ray Stevenson going out as a good guy and for his last role ever, or at least I don't know if he recorded other things that'll come out later. But one of the last roles, and if he goes out as a good guy, I'd be okay with that, but I agree with you. I would prefer just keep them all bad. You don't need a turn. You don't need to turn everybody. It just looks like it's also kind of set up where there's this little rift kind of between, what's her name? Shin?
Shin.
Yeah. So Shin and Morgan.
Oh yeah. There seems a little something there.
Like there's a little thing there. And so if she's going to turn, I just, please don't turn her. Please. It's like,
I just don't seeing it as they have that tension between the two of them, between Morgan and Shin. Like, I don't see a turn happening there. Okay, all right. Now, if we're going to talk turn, I see if we get Ray Stevenson's turn, I see Shin killing him.
That would be
really siding with Morgan, like doubling down on it.
Right.
That's what I see. That because there's something honorable still about Balin.
There is right now.
There's some kind of honor, and maybe that's Ray Stevenson as an actor bringing something with it that a different actor in the role I wouldn't be seeing.
Agreed. I think
it's a nice layer to his performance.
Well, he's defining the character, right? He's defining I love the idea that you get this guy who's an ex-Jedi, and he clearly will take you out in a heartbeat. Look what he did to that captain on the ship, right? But he's got a respect for the Jedi Order. He has a respect for what it was. And I want to learn more about him. I want to learn, there's that moment inside the trailer where he knows about Anakin. He knows, it's one thing if you know about him now. If you know the story that Anakin went to the dark side and become Vader after it all went down, and the things start to come out, that makes sense. That you start to hear a little bit more about it. So if he knows about the Anakin and Vader turn and all that, so be it. But I want more of those kind of conversations. That's why I want more of these 45-minute, 50-minute episodes. Let us really sit in this, and also let us bounce back and forth from the different characters and build it up. Let me get some more Imperial or New Republic scenes. Let me get some more of those and build up those conversations, and then get me back. Like there's got to be these. Please stop with these stupid 32-minute episodes. Stick to 45. You got it. Yeah. We did get some questions, Mike. We got quite a few super chats that came in. So I'm gonna go through them as we. Any other final thoughts about this episode as I look through them, Mike?
No, it kept me engaged, so that's always a plus. Like it feels like Star Wars to me. Like it does feel like Star Wars. It does. It's a nice, So
was it just that it was too short for you? Is that what it was? That because you seem, as you're talking about it, it seems like you liked it.
No, I'm not saying I don't like the show.
Yeah. The episode, I mean.
The episode itself. No, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But it's tough, like, because it's hard. I feel like we're in the middle of something, and like with Andor, like I watched it, I graded it as a whole. Whereas Mando and Boba Fett, I could individual episodes. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh, this wasn't good. This, I feel like you'd said, we're building. They know where they're going. We're not going to meander anywhere. I think they're going to land the ending. I don't think it's going to be one of those ones we're going to be at episode 7. We're like, they got one episode to wrap this up, and they're screwed.
No, he knows where it's going. He knows.
So I feel like I can't give a fair assessment of it because it's a puzzle piece of this story that
Right. It's very similar to when we were watching like the Mandalorian season. I think it was 1 or 2.
Well, here it is.
Yeah.
I'm never going to pop in one episode of this show and watch just that one episode. Like Mando, I do that all the time.
Right.
This, I'm going to watch it all together. Sit down over a couple days and watch it all as one thing, like with Andor.
It's certainly leading to, the bigger picture, which is hopefully another season of Ahsoka. The other thing I was like, it's like 15 million viewers, I think, watched the first episode. And then I saw things where people are saying that was under Mandalorian, just better than Andor or whatever it was too. And people are calling it a flop and saying it's bombing. It's like, what are you talking about? It's 15 million. What are you talking about? Like, that's not, what are you talking about? That's like, it's not everything's going to do the numbers like Mandalorian did right away. It doesn't have that kind of thing. Another thing that they don't realize about Andor that I keep trying to tell people, TV streaming numbers are not the same as opening weekend box office. Please get that through your heads. It's like
trying to compare amount of people that watched it.
Like, well, Andor bombed. And I saw someone recently said, well, Andor bombed. Andor did not bomb. Andor had it was one of these things where it had the spot itself. People were like, okay, I don't know what this is. It's Andor. It's a character from Rogue One. And then the word of mouth started hitting. And the difference is with streaming and the movies are, with streaming, you already have Disney Plus. And if you go, okay, I already subscribed to Disney Plus, I'm not going to watch Andor. I don't know what this is. And then your friend goes, you should watch Andor. It's amazing. Well, I'm already subscribed. I'm paying for it already. I'll check it out and see if I like an episode. And you watch it. The movies, bless you. The movies, you have like, okay, so I saw there's a movie out. I don't want to see it. All right, I'll go spend $15 out of my pocket now to go see it. And then I don't like it. You just wasted $15. At least you feel that way. So it's like you don't take that risk. And if it doesn't do well in that opening month or whatever, too, it's and it's gone. Streaming numbers. If it look at like Battlestar Galactica is still doing good streaming numbers. Its show's been off the air for 16 years. Whatever.
That's the thing. Like it's hard to. People want to latch onto something that's a narrative that's there that's not there.
Right. Yeah, it's bizarre. All right, let's get to some of these questions. Here's the first one. Stubby Wan Kenobi. What's up, Stubby Wan? Ahsoka was wearing a jetpack and sparks fly from it, showing that it malfunctioned. I'm not sure. I mean, is that
if that is the case, we need to see that. We need to see a shot of that thing working.
I guess it was. I don't know.
It's funny. You hated that moment. I thought I liked it.
Hated it. It just played silly to me when she it played less silly to me when she started floating around in space. I'm like, all right, and I actually thought it was a humorous moment where she's just like, all right, why don't you come get me?
For me, the funniest thing was how fast she got dressed in that thing.
It's right,
pretty damn quick.
Pretty.
But I get it. I get storytelling. I get it.
You had to. Kenneth Colton. I can't pass a chance to send in a donation. Very kind of you. Congrats on 90,000 subs. The Space Whales will be proud. Well, thank you, guys. Very kind. Yeah, man. Look,
Space Whales will be proud.
And also, I got to thank Mike. I got to thank Mike. I got to thank Steph, Roxy, Brett, Winston, Coy, Kate, PLD, Frankie Numbers, everybody who's really been involved in this show in general. Brett, of course, obviously, because we've been working really hard on this channel since I left Skybound and pushing through it and to grow to 90,000 with you guys behind us. It's been great. We're trying to aim for 100.
We're to 100, baby.
We're gonna get there. So thank you for that. Very kind of you. All right. Never lose your nerd. This episode did its job for me and left me wanting more. I hope we see Ezra train Jason to be a Jedi. Ahsoka is my Star Wars crush. I mean, Rosario Dawson is a great actress and a very attractive woman, so I understand that crush for sure. But she also I like what she's doing with Ahsoka, and I think that I don't know, Ezra training Jason. Jason could take on the role of Jason Solo, and kind of because Jason Solo in the books went to the dark side, from what I remember, or was it Jaina? I thought it was Jaina.
I thought it was so long ago.
But either way, like him, I could see going to the dark side. If Hera losing, and it runs into another trope, like how many parents got to lose?
Yeah, how many parents going to lose the dark side?
I get it, but he wants. I mean, the kid wants to be a Jedi, so it's a dark road. But I think maybe they take him to the academy. Maybe they take him to the academy to train with Luke. So, okay, let's see. Is this? Oh, we did that one. So I agree with you that the episode did its job for me too. I saw it was so weird. I saw some comment going, "Stop being negative." On the episode when I did the spoiler, I'm like, did you? And I always do this now. If someone says something stupid, I go, I think you commented on the wrong video. That's what I write to them now. Because I'm like, the whole time I'm talking about how much.
I think people have a default setting that's the automatic go to. Even if you give some criticism, doesn't mean you hated the episode. Even if you criticize certain bits of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm always going to do that. Space, massive fan from New Zealand. Thanks, man. Do you think Zeb is going to be brought in as a key character or maybe a surprise appearance near the finale? Yeah, Zeb, I think it would have been more of like I don't know, if it hadn't been for Mandalorian. I mean, he shows up in Mandalorian. So I think he's going to.
I don't know. I think that was more of a like, we're going to put him in here. He'll fit here. I don't know.
I think they will. I think there's a reason why he was testing him out in Mandalorian, because they're going to bring him in. Right. I don't think he would debut him in there just to. That's the only place you're going to see him. Now the question is, will Callus be with him? And will they? I do think it's more of what you just said, though. I think it's more of like he shows up maybe towards the end, and I think maybe you get him more involved in season 2. Okay. Miguel Nuva, Leia, Han, and Luke would fit into this story. The answer to that is yes, they would. As far as how it all plays in the chronological order of Star Wars, you're absolutely right. There was a book about it. Then yeah, they would absolutely get involved. It's only 5 or 6 years after Jedi. They're still pretty young, and
yeah.
The problem is the deep fake stuff is. The word is that they're not going to do it as much anymore, and they're not going to.
I heard the guy that they hired doesn't work with them anymore. Right?
It's not even there anymore. Yeah, so
that was a quick, like, yeah, I'm out.
From what I heard is that Kathleen, and I don't know how true this is, but Kathleen Kennedy doesn't want Luke Skywalker in it anymore. She doesn't want to do deep fake stuff anymore. I don't know. I don't know. So the answer to your question is yes, it would make sense, but very doubtful. Very doubtful. All right. Ronan Unchained. What's up, man? Hey, Kristian and Mark. Part 3 was stellar. It balances the mentorship, the political landscape of the New Republic, and the race to find Thrawn and Ezra. I couldn't agree more.
That's well said. I mean, you had 3 major plot points.
Yeah.
Throwing in Morgan Elsbeth and the bad guys. And in 32 minutes, maybe that's the thing. Maybe they looked at, hey, it told the story we needed to tell. We're not going to pad it for no reason.
It was impressive that they were able to fit in that much.
Yeah, good point.
My counter to that is just...
You want more. You're
you just
greedy.
could have done more. Yeah, you just could have done
You're
more
greedy.
with 12 more minutes. 12 more minutes is all you needed. Ismael Montano. When do you guys think the New Republic will get involved to help Ahsoka? I wouldn't mind if this is more of an espionage season instead of a battle. I think it is definitely going to be more of an espionage. I don't know if the New Republic is going to get involved, and I wouldn't be surprised if douchebag McGillicuddy is one of Thrawn's dudes.
Ooh, little wolf in sheep's clothing, as it were.
I think so.
Seeing is what happened second episode with them still around and all that kind of stuff. He might have spies in the New Republic. So
why wouldn't he? If he's got them all over that shipping yard, why wouldn't
they say he is?
Why wouldn't he have senators? I mean, look at the landscape that we're in today. I mean, you see a bunch of people that are all over the news working for Thrawn. All right, so here's the next one. So yeah, I'm very curious to how they're going to do that, but I don't think the New Republic is going to get involved. I think maybe Mon Mothma gives Hera a couple ships to fight, but I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, I think Ronan follows up. I love that Mon Mothma was letting democracy go about, but without saying much. She believes Hera's word, plus the danger if Thrawn is alive. Yeah, she's kind of in the background. There's only so much that she can do, and that I thought was very interesting.
I think also she realizes what it was like under Palpatine, like when you've got this absolute ruler. So it's a democracy, and you don't always agree with what your counterparts say but they are a democracy for a reason. You have a say, and everyone has an equal say in a vote. And so yeah, it's great.
So this is more you than me.
Yeah.
Javdev, a Jedi fighting in space. That shit was beautiful. I get it. Imagery.
I agree. That was cool as shit.
I think a lot of people did, and that was the only. I don't know. I was just watching on.
She's on the wing of a starship in the middle of space,
flipping around,
deflecting lasers. I dug it.
Yeah, flipping around, flipping for real. Steph Ponce, sure what Emway could use Force abilities, but is attuned to Force and stronger because of it. Maybe Sabine gets stronger in this way without abilities. That would be great.
Okay,
that would be great if they did that. If they were able to play that inside of the same way they did with him. That would be amazing. Another trained Jedi in Force, it just becomes like, how many were there?
Oh, I get it.
Yeah, and did she go and train with Luke also? That would be great.
Who knows?
Who knows? I don't know. And what's the deal with
all these mentors and Jedi?
Are they around? She's good. She's bad. I mean, come on.
Stuff with their mind.
I mean, come on. What's the deal? Thank you for everybody, by the way, who's putting in these super chats. We weren't even expecting it today. So a lot of people throwing in questions. Really great and really appreciate it. We'll take the questions until you want to stop sending them. Stubby1 Kenobi. Redemption is a vital plot beat in every Star Wars story. If done correctly, it works every time. Yeah, but when it doesn't, it works terribly. Also, Ahsoka being stoic works. I agree with you. I couldn't imagine Snips being Sabine's master. And she's gone through too much. She's got, through all the stuff.
And that's why I do see why she's like that, but it just seemed like Hera and Sabine were also these kind of stoic.
Hera too?
And again, it was more the delivery of the lines that they've got than the character. So it just seemed like everyone was kind of imitating Rosario Dawson to a
fair. First of all, Stubby1, thank you for the very generous donation. That was very kind of you. But I mean, like I said, the redemption is a vital plot in every Star Wars movie and project. And it's like, sure, but it's like, when does it get tiresome? And when does it get predictable? That's the problem. Is when it starts to get predictable. Like when Mike and I don't even watch, and Steph, when we don't even watch Obi-Wan, we're like, that Reva's turning good. You just saw it. If anybody didn't see that coming from a mile away, it's like
that's the reason why with certain things, and a lot of franchises do realize it. Like, man, we've seen our guy do this X amount of times. We got to do something different.
And change it up. LGP Vintage Toys, greetings, masters. Ahsoka bleeds Star Wars. Love it. I mean, you can't argue with that, no matter what.
You cannot argue with that. It is Star Wars.
It is Star Wars all over the place.
I'd even say this: it's Star Wars with the clunky dialogue. There's some clunky dialogue in there that Sabine had to deliver, and I'm kind of like, but it's Star Wars.
Yeah,
we've been there. We've been on this path before. There's some Lucas dialogue. I'll say that.
For sure. And I wonder if it's deliberate, because could
it be?
Here's one of the things that I will say, because I think this is about as Star Wars as it gets, and I think that it has what Mandalorian 3 was missing is it has a full-on story that I'm really digging, and Filoni really knows the essence of Star Wars. I think that Filoni's biggest detriment, I think his biggest problem is that, and this is going to sound ludicrous to say, I think he holds too close to what Lucas does. I think that I think he won't venture off. I think that this whole 32, 33 minute thing is a he thing. I think it's a him. I think that even for Mandalorian, of the whole stronger, faster, more intense, I think that's a Lucas thing. I think it's silly. I think that I wouldn't be surprised if you looked at certain things. I would guess that he's not an Andor fan. If I was to guess, I have no merit in that, but I would guess that was the case, because like those were. There's one episode that was like 34 minutes, but the rest of them are like 50 minutes, whatever, too, and it's dialogue heavy, and it's about as far away from George Lucas Star Wars as possible. And I think that sometimes he holds a little too close to the vest on the Lucas thing. That I love the essence of it, and I love that quote of the whole thing with him and Favreau, of the homage to Star Wars and doing what George did, the things that inspired Star Wars, and that's what they do really well. Like, he does that really, really, really well. But I think sometimes he holds it a little bit too close to and doesn't break the Lucas stamp. And I think that you can see it sometimes with the dialogue and other things. All right, let's see. So where was the other one? Oh, Andre Armini with a very nice super chat as well. Thank you, Andre. I'm not really liking Ahsoka, and I blame Andor. Here we go. I thought that not every Star Wars movie should be like Star Wars media, should be like Andor, but I'm changing my opinion. Can you imagine the writers of Andor could do with Thrawn? Look, I get it. Yeah,
I'm with him. Well, Andor kind of ruined me for Star Wars because of.
But we said it though with that.
I know.
Everything can't be, because here's the thing also is that
you're right.
You also got to understand in where what I was just talking about. One of the things that I think is a positive and a negative inside of holding on to the Lucas thing is that Lucas made Star Wars for kids, right? So Andor's not for kids. It's just not. It's not for children. There's nothing inside of Andor that is for kids. It's an adult-based Star Wars spy thriller. And the opening scene alone feels more like Blade Runner than anything else. And I love Andor. I still think it's the best written Star Wars piece since Empire Strikes Back, hands down. But this is way more of those kind of Star Wars fun feel, like you can watch with the family, you can watch with kids, you can have, it's like, even though I don't love the moment, like a 10-year-old watching Ahsoka flipping space with sabers is more exciting than Andor and Skarsgård having a conversation about rebellion. It just, that's the thing. So you got to have that. I think you need it. I think I agree with you. I would love to see Tony Gilroy write a scene for Thrawn, and I would love to see someone like that in that universe. And I think that they should do more stuff like that. But I also think that Filoni's got a lot of say in the Star Wars world, and I think you're going to see more stuff in the vein of Ahsoka than you are going to see Andor. So, do I mean Andor is quality or show type? I don't know what that means. Do you mean Andor is quality or show type? Do you know what that means?
I think he means like in the sense of it's quality, like how we don't think it's Star Wars, how it's kind of this elevated, or show type as in, I'm trying to think, how am I going to word this? Like the pulpy feel of Star Wars. Like
it doesn't.
I could be wrong in that, but it feels
Andor doesn't have the pulpy feel at all.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. If that's
this feels more, but again, I don't really feel like this doesn't fit with with Mando.
You don't think Ahsoka fits with Mando?
It feels closer to Mando, but I feel like it's its own thing. It just kind of has this, because there's higher stakes. I feel a little bit more of the tension, the drama.
Right.
It doesn't feel Saturday morning cliffhanger to me like Mando does.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's
a spot between Mando and Andor for me with this show so far.
Yeah. Oh, so look, this is a good point too. This 50-year-old dude would rather see. Mr. Joseph B is talking about himself, saying this 50-year-old dude would rather see Ahsoka flipping through space than old dudes talking. That's what Star Trek is for. Hey, fair enough. Fair enough.
It's a good point. Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, it depends on what you want, right? Wicked Art, the great Wicked Art. My wife and 2 daughters are hooked on Ahsoka, especially my wife. She isn't a big Star Wars fan. I'm glad I have something for the whole family isn't do for once. And that's kind of my point, right? So like, you need that stuff for people with families as well too. But I do think, and I hope that there's not a mistake where they don't do shows like Andor because they don't feel it's inside of the Lucas realm. I think that's a major mistake. And I know that we're getting season 2, but they should do more.
Feel Acolyte might gear a little more that way. I could be completely wrong. Could be completely wrong.
I really do hope so, but I don't know. I mean, who even knows when that show's coming out with with the strike and everything too? And
2027,
maybe. Aaron Coronado just sends in a $9.99 super chat. Thanks, man. Very, very appreciative of that. Thank you guys to everybody who's joining us on this live stream. It's been I've been shocked. There's Aaron again. Do you think Ezra is being held captive by Thrawn and leftover stormtroopers and using his Force ability to communicate? It's possible. It's definitely possible to see what Ezra's doing out there too, because it can't just be Thrawn who's communicating, right? That's why it's either, or maybe that you're doing it like something happened. I'm gonna watch that scene again where the two of them disappear and like they disappear together. Like what happens? I mean, I'm sure Filoni always had an idea for it, but you have any idea, Mike?
I have no clue. I didn't watch Rebels.
Fair enough.
Hey, Mike, that show ran 5 seasons. A lot of involved. What do you think happened to them?
Stubby-Wan Kenobi.
No,
I might have nitpicked you again. I nitpicked you a bit, but I'm here for all the shows, and I've been here since Schmoes know and loved every minute. Thanks, man. That's very kind. Hey, nitpick is okay, and I don't mind. I don't mind when people are having conversations.
Stubbs is doing the nitpicking.
But I don't mind when people are having conversations and disagreements and criticisms, like real criticisms. I love that on this channel and always have loved that. It's just, and I will say this. So Miri came on the show the other day, right? And this channel is just so different than other channels I've been on in the past, whether it was Collider, Schmoes, anything to the chat. I was never worried about the comment section. Like I was always worried about the comment section when guests came in to live chats, whether it was Collider or Schmoes, and I was like, and I was always worried about it. The comments were so nice, they were so respectful. They were like, there was just like I don't know, just there's a different vibe on this channel in general, and I'm really appreciative to all of you who've been contributing to that. So thank you, Robert Terry, again, $10 super chat, very kind. It felt like episode 3 could have been the start of an episode versus a whole one. So it's just short. I agree. I feel he's not wrong. We'll get into it. I feel like sometimes modern TV shows treat seasons like one long story and don't give episode its own 3 acts. I mean, I think that that's true to both of it, right? Like I agree with him 100%. You could have that 32 minutes when they end in the forest, whatever the next 32 minutes are, that could have been a full episode. In the same way the Mandalorian could have done that also. But you could have, like, all that leading to the forest. Think of like you don't watch Game of Thrones either, but like if you get to a spot where they land into the forest and then that's the first half of the episode, and then you lead into the second half, it's a great episode. It's a fantastic. If this episode had another 30 minutes to it with a big climax, considering what we got in that first half, this is a fantastic episode. No?
Yeah, I see that. I get your point, but hey, but I'll say this: this is nothing new. We're used to this storytelling method with them.
I know.
So whoever's in charge of it, they've dubbed this their thing, and that's what they do.
Nico Odell, what series of episodes should I watch in Rebels to appreciate this better without watching all of it? You all are awesome. So, Nico, I think that there's a guide of a few. I think even official Star Wars tweeted out something. I think Filoni gave something. And if you guys know in the chat what it is, please post it in the chat. But I think there's like at least 6 ones that you should watch to really catch up with all of it. And I'm sure if you do a Google search, you can find it, but I don't know them offhand. But there are like a few different guides of different people who have done that to let people know exactly like where to watch, because I think that would be helpful to catch up, especially like the I keep saying Jason Solo, but the Jason Sundala stuff also. Ed says, as Kylo yelled, more Sith Council live shows, please. Almost 600 of us here, happy as F right now. What's up, guys? Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, look, this was something that kind of came about because Mike was going to come into the studio and we couldn't make it happen. And I was like, look, do you want to go live? And he was like, yeah, I can make it. I can make it live tonight. and I figured it worked out. So I'm glad that you guys are able to join us, and very appreciative of it. JJav Dav, love the training scene. Droid was showing her different styles of fighting. Yeah, I love that too. The different, when they went into the different lightsaber.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Ahsoka's ship is badass. The way it flips reminds me of Sea Creature. I'm telling you, there are little things in here that people are overlooking. There are the little details that I think are really put out there that I think are spectacular. You know. All right, let's see. Haskell 420 again. Andor is akin to Oppenheimer. Yeah, it's long and has a lot of talking in it, but all that talk and build up in it was riveting as fuck. Yeah, 100%, man. 100%. I really want to watch Andor again. Andor was a very special show. It was a very, very special show. And I think that the second season is going to do very well in the ratings. Much better than the first season when it first came out. So, yeah, man. That's very, very, it's a very good point. The lead up to it and the build up to it. And I liked how Mike and I talked about on every Sith Council, like that it's that slow burn, it's that slow burn. All right, guys, look, we did it. We caught everybody's super chats here. We talked about Ahsoka and we got into it. We'll get into it next week. I mean, I would love for the strike to be over next week so we get Steph back too, because I would love to get her thoughts on the show. I haven't talked to her. Have you talked about Ahsoka at all?
I have not.
I'd love to get her thoughts on what it was. So everybody who put a super chat in, thank you so much. Again, anybody who's purchased the sponsors, like I cannot emphasize enough. If you have the means, I know not everybody has the means, but if you have the means to do it and you want to get something for yourself, will you please consider looking at the sponsors that I have? I've pinned in the comment. I have it pinned in the first comment once it goes live. If you're able to, please consider one of our sponsors and use our codes, use our links. It helps the show out tremendously and helps us keep going and helps us be on the air for as long as we have been because of people like you. Like, sponsors are really what keeps us going. So why we don't do the live shows and the super chats all the time, because we were trying to get the sponsors going and getting you guys to figure it out and whether or not you like them or not. Okay. So Mike Kalinowski, where can they find you?
Find me at Mike Kalinowski. Simple enough.
Look at that. Perfect. For me, you can find me all over this channel. I'm here. We just hit 90. We're looking to get 100,000. We'll be back here tomorrow. I'm doing a solo show because I was going to do a pre-tape with Brett today, but we recorded an episode of Katie's show. We're recording some more episodes of Katie's show. We're going to have so many episodes. Guys, I can't wait to tell you the guest that we had today. I'm going to tell you off air who our guest was, Mike. You're going to lose it. You're going to love who our guest was today on Katie's show. And then tomorrow, this audience is going to love who we have on tomorrow. Well, whenever we can air it, it'll probably be in like 3 months. And then we have quite a few amazing guests coming up on that show. So you guys are going to love it. All right. So for Mike Kalinowski, Sith Council, make sure once again, guys, if you haven't done it, go on to Spotify, check us out on Spotify. We're over there on Spotify or on Apple Podcast as well. The website, if you join the website, thekristianharloff.com. 100,000. We are almost there, guys, and we need you guys to help us out. So for Mike Kalinowski, I'm me. You're you. We'll see you on the flip side, guys. Thanks.